Do you know one of the things I hear all the time? I just feel a bit off. I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious, I'm not even suicidal, I feel a bit off. Well, 1 in 3 Americans either feel anxious or depressed at any given time on any given day. Let's talk about some ideas and techniques that will help us get back together, get ourselves back together, how we can help ourselves and one another to feel better in what is undoubtedly a very peculiar and confusing time, and how a pregnant cat may be of some value to the process. Is she even in frame? Here she is. How can you be depressed with such a beautiful, ongoing, continually available to you? Over the course of my life, I've suffered from, I would say, a wide variety of mental health problems, depression, anxiety. I was diagnosed before as bipolar, and of course, I've been a drug addict. Now that I'm one day at a time, drug and alcohol free, I use a lot of techniques to keep my mental health together. I'm very vigilant about my moods, and I believe strongly that the solution to all mental health problems is a spiritual one. Now, perhaps there are sort of chronic, acute and severe mental health issues that may be beyond the remit of the kind of techniques that I'm going to describe. But the same way as you might imagine that any physical condition could be improved by physiotherapy, conditions with regard to mental health can be improved with some of these psychotherapeutic methods. I'm just going to let this cat out of here. Go on, darling, out you go. I'm not talking about, like, you know, severe depression where people have been, you know, sectioned, or what's that, 5150? Is that what you call it in America, or 2120? I can't remember what you call it when you get sectioned in America. Although I sailed dangerously close to the edge one time when I was in an institution. So I suppose the reason I believe in the possibility of healing your mental health challenges is because it's something I continually work on. I still have challenges with mental health. I still have times where I really struggle. Like, I was surprised friends of mine recently that I'm in recovery with by saying that I still think and think dark thoughts and feel dark feelings relatively regularly. Where I'm lucky is that my life is held together now by structure. Here are the things that I most ardently avoid. 1, I avoid staying alone in my own head. Most of us live primarily in the reality of our own mind. That's a sort of a condition of the modern world. If we were still living in hunter-gatherer societies, or even if we were living in an industrial society where our life was dominated by work, then, you know, the problem wouldn't be so severe. But these days, most of us, I think, due to the nature of our media and due to the nature of our cultures, live kind of primarily in our own minds. We see reality through the continual lens of our own perception. Now, that might seem like an obvious thing, but it's also something that can really be remedied and altered. If you just take this simple example, like, you could be in a really beautiful place with beautiful people and still feel hideous, or you could be in a relatively drab and ordinary situation and feel fantastic. Like, you know what it's like when you fall in love, how everything is elevated, how everything is suddenly magical, and all that's really happened is an external stimulant has caused you to feel more connected to reality. And some people would look at that from a biochemical perspective, other people would look at that from a romantic perspective, others yet might look at it from, I don't know, a hormonal or neurological perspective. But the fact is your reality alters as a result of your inner state. If all you do is endlessly ruminate on the things that are wrong with your life, then it's very, very difficult to be happy. The principle of gratitude is one that I still regularly apply. How I apply gratitude, it's a simple technique. This is big in recovery circles. Do what is called a gratitude list every day. Even in times when things might not be going well for you, we can all be grateful for the following things. You can be grateful for your state of health. Like, even if you have health problems, you can be grateful for the things that are healthy. You can be grateful for the relationships you have in your life. Even if you're lonely sometimes, you still presumably have some relationships in your life. And on that point of relationship, I think it's absolutely vital to have connections with people that you don't have to completely operate from behind a veil in. You know, like, you don't operate totally within the persona. I have relationships in my life where I can tell people exactly how I feel, exactly what my fears are, exactly what my concerns are. So the principle of gratitude is one, and the principle of connection is another. To have connections with people. And for me, I can't like hang with people that just want to exchange platitude and cliches. I need to be with people who have been in the trenches of depression. That's why I belong to support groups. For me, that completely changes me. I still regularly attend support groups, even though it's like a long time since I've had a problem with drugs, long time since my mental health issues have been chronic or acute or, you know, serious enough to mess me up. I still maintain connections to those support groups. Most importantly, or perhaps who knows, why should there be a league table, but another important component is I have a clear spiritual practice that I'm engaged with every day. Elsewhere on this channel, I've talked to you about doing the Wim Hof Method. Look at that video here. You can watch that video straight after this one. Breathing techniques and using cold water and cold temperatures to alter your reality, your perception, and your autoimmune system. I meditate. Here, like there's another video of me meditating with Deepak Chopra. Check that out. Those are just two things that I do that regulate and change my mental health every day. I don't always do that Deepak Chopra meditation. I do other ones that I learned off of Muji. Muji is elsewhere on this channel. I do transcendental meditation. What I suppose I'm saying to you primarily is I treat my inner state as the absolute priority in my life. In my language, it's my connection to God. Another way of looking at God is ultimate reality, absolute reality, pinnacle experience. The idea that the dominant reality in my life is not some set of external circumstances, but an internal state that can be altered through action, meditation, prayer, the things that I'm talking to you about now, like gratitude lists, you know, like I've still not even finished my gratitude list. I'm grateful for my cats, my pregnant cats. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful that I'm not poor anymore. And in fact, that I'm affluent. I'm grateful for my beautiful children and that they are healthy. You know, like it's sort of like I've got so much to be grateful for. But at times when I first started this technique, it was much more grateful for the fact that I can claim benefits, grateful that I have a roof over my head, grateful to be 3 days clean from drink or drugs. You know, the gratitude is, forgive this, an attitude rather than a kind of an inventory of boons judged on their own merits. Sometimes it's enough to be grateful to be alive, but we must find things to be grateful for. Otherwise, speaking for myself, all I'll do is focus on the negative things in my life, the things I'm afraid of. And there's always something to be afraid of. Even when things are going well, things could go wrong. If the more people you love, the more you have to lose. You know, so adopting an attitude of gratitude is absolutely vital for mental health. This ain't necessarily going to help you if you're like in the outer reaches of serious depression. But if you're a person that's functioning but you're not happy, the idea that we have some authority and autonomy over our mental state is an important one. That's the point of spiritual practice. That's the reason that there are doctrines and religions, dogmas and methods. All of these things, for good or for ill, begin with the idea that it is possible for you through behavior, through belief and through action to alter your experience of reality. Reality ain't just something that, you know, most of us, if you think about it in a secular society, think reality is just something that smashes you in the face. Maybe you'll work harder, earn more money and be able to buy more stuff and that'll make you happier. Or maybe you'll be able to make yourself attractive through the use of products or carrying out exercises, and you'll like be able to have a lot of sex or find one appropriate and enjoyable sexual partner or whatever it is that is your set of goals, and that'll improve your life. But what we don't talk about anymore is improving your inner state. And if we do, it's usually looked at as an individualistic pursuit that's determined by sort of what do I want to say? Like by meeting objectives. You meditate, if you exercise, then you can optimize your life and become a better accountant or literary agent or asphalter or whatever it is you do for a living. The fact is, though, for its own sake, spiritual practices can be pursued to change your reality. If you just feel a bit off, like you're not yourself, that reality ain't going exactly how it could be going, then it's likely, in my opinion, because you don't have a practice, you don't have a method, you don't have an ideology. I say this from experience because I was a person that was always dominated by bad mental health. I'm depressed, I've got no energy, I'm lethargic, I can't be bothered to do things. What's the point? shit, nothing ever works out for me anyway. But these were the kind of thoughts that dominated the landscape of my mind and returned still from time to time. The way I keep them at bay is with the application of these methods. I stay grateful, I keep praying and meditating, I belong to groups. These are just a few of the things that I do. If you feel a little bit off, you know, as well as watching these videos, the Wim Hof one, a clear method, 30 days of stuff, as well as looking at some of the Kundalini ones that, you know, that show how breath can change your state of mind in a very practical way. You know, it's not just positive thinking or cheer up son or yes you can, pull your socks up. These things, these breath exercises and these methods change your consciousness. They alter you. But it's, as they say in the programs that I belong to, it's easier to act your way into thinking differently than it is to think your way into acting differently. It is necessary to take action. It is necessary to start joining support groups, to form different kind of connections. So if you are feeling a bit off, a bit down, a bit dour, remember there's a way out of it, that your feelings are information and you can respond to that information. And my suggestion is that you respond to that information by creating structures and, most importantly of all, by making changes, not by accepting that your life is a sort of a downward spiral, a process of deterioration and despair, because that is one option, and I've been on that, and I know a lot of people that have been on it, and many of those people aren't here anymore because they've had to end their own lives or seek solace in drugs and alcohol, or, you know, take other ways out. If you feel a little bit off, see it as an internal call to arms and start considering some of these methods. Let me know in the comments below, after you've tried some of these methods, whether they were successful for you, why you sometimes feel that you can't be bothered, what, like the feeling of despair that nothing's going to work for you. Try the Wim Hof video, that you know, what I did for 30 days. Try the Deepak Chopra meditation. Try these videos out and become a member of my community in my mailing list. Come see me live. I'm doing 20 shows in the south of England over the coming months. Come check me out. Talk to me, meet me. If you've got any problems that you want me to address directly, I do that all the time for the people that subscribe to my mailing list. You can write to help@russellbrand.com and I'll give you direct guidance, or one of the volunteers that works there will offer you some help there. So if you are feeling a bit off, remember there's something you can do.